This is our third video on marketing in our series. We're going to talk about creating marketing plan basics, understanding the market, what target markets are, competitive advantage, and the marketing mix. These are the 4 Ps, 5 Ps, 6 Ps, depending on who you listen to. Turning product level marketing strategy into plan. Well, a strategy is a long-term general direction, and a plan has specific times and steps to fulfill that strategy. In other words, if you have a strategy and no plan to meet it, you're on a road to failure. So the plan will have dates and times and people assigned to do those tasks. Creating a product level marketing plan outline. So first of all, understand the marketplace. That's the external environment. That's because a lot of companies get internally focused. They forget about what's going on outside. Define the target market. So who needs our solution? Who are these people who are going to buy our product? It's not everyone. That's the wrong answer. There's a specific group of people who are going to want to buy our product. Create a competitive advantage. Why should they buy ours? The number of people who are offended when I ask them, why should I buy your product, is unbelievable. If you cannot tell somebody in a quick sentence why they should buy your product, you're lost. Develop a marketing mix. That's the product, price, place, promotion, and people. Over here we have an index of where we're going. So this is the general outline we're going to follow today. So let's get into details. Understand the marketplace. So it's called environmental scanning, and it's when you do the monitoring of your company's external environment, and it's an ongoing process. It's not a one-time thing. You look at news, you look at competitors, you look at worldwide information, anything that's going to influence your company or affect it. So it could be your suppliers. Are your suppliers going to get the materials you need on time to you so that you can build your product? Are customers having a bad time economically? So is that going to impact you? And so on and so on. Gather and analyze economic, social, legal, technical, political, environmental trends that may impact, for better or worse, your company's success. So you can DIY it, or you can hire it out to clipping services and consultants. The goal is to identify strengths and weaknesses and avoid missing opportunities and threats. So that's part of a good SWOT analysis. I will say a lot of firms are really bad at it. It's very easy to become inwardly focused, and a lot of companies do. A lot of managers on their way up are more interested in pleasing their boss and being yes people than they are at actually finding real information and delivering that. So some companies that totally missed the boat are Kodak with digital cameras. Kodak actually developed a digital camera and then said, no, we don't want to sell that. You know, that'll kill film. Film is forever. Xerox patents, yeah, they had the mouse, they had the graphic screen interfaces. Yeah, they let those slide. IBM PC OS, they gave that business away to Microsoft because they thought hardware was the way to go. General Motors Electric Vehicle 1, the EV1, they had a lead on everybody and they threw it away. Blockbuster Video and Streaming, Nokia, BlackBerry, and smartphones. There are 6 types of key environmental data to scan for. The first one is economics. So this is looking out for things like changing or stagnant incomes, inflation, recession. Ford overpaying his employees overcame things like the inability to buy one of his cars. So yeah, he overpaid his employees so they could buy one of his cars. He got economies of scale. Clever move. Technological, so advances in data retrieval and communication capabilities allowed for smartphones, mobile phones, spying on those devices, customer databases, and so on. Political and legal, changes in law and regulatory agency activities, so higher taxes, quotas, war, trade agreements, on and off, and so on. Competitive, and this is both domestic and foreign-based firms. So our new competitors coming in, our old ones going away. Those are both things to watch out for. Social values, and this is not price value. This is the social value of potential customers and like things like the changing roles of families, women working outside the home. These have all impacted incomes, and they have impacted people's ability to do things like spend time on the TV or whatever, because if both people are working, they have less time to do those kind of leisure activities. So there are more cars in the world. There's less walking. There's things like birth control, which leads to fewer children. In a lot of developed countries, from Japan to Germany, people are having fewer children, so that definitely impacts certain product areas. This leads into demographics, so ages, birth and death rates, migration, immigration. A lot of developed countries are unbalanced. They are contracting populations. They have fewer family units. These are things that are affecting businesses and markets. We're coming on down to number 2 here in our index, the target market. By definition, a group of consumers or organizations with similar traits at which a firm directs marketing efforts who may purchase a particular product. You cannot be everything to everybody, and if you try to do that, you will fail. You do not have enough money to advertise to everybody in the world. You do not have enough money to build products for everybody in the world. You have to look at the group of people who are going to buy your most successful potential product. And that also includes industrial customers. Products should always be directed at defined markets. So for example, whether it's a female teen, firms that need high-grade chemicals for medicine production, universities, and so on. So target market traits include things like age, gender, the size of the firm you're selling to, the amount of money they have to spend, and so on. Target markets change. So for example, I remember Porsche saying they were never going to make an SUV. Porsche made an SUV when they saw how popular they were. Consumer markets. Now, this is what you and I typically buy for our homes. They are the various consumer products. They could be cleaning products, things like everything from bed sheets, towels, clothes, shoes, and so on. Then there are industrial markets, and these are industrial products that are purchased by firms. They're going to be things like rolls of sheet steel, aluminum ingots, and so on, raw plastic, steel, so on. There are multiple targets. Some products, like car tires, they can serve consumer markets, or they can also be sold to industrial markets. So a car manufacturer will buy lots of tires. Or milk. You buy milk from the store, and ice cream companies also buy milk. So to repeat what I said up here, there's an old saying: if you think your product is something for everyone, you are nothing for nobody. And this is my Porsche example. So Porsche said, we're never going to make an SUV. We're going to stick to sports cars. And here's evidence that customers and companies evolve. So number 3, competitive advantage. Competitive advantage is a set of unique features of a firm and its products that are perceived by the target market as significant and superior to those of the competition. Yeah, so it's the things that you do differently that customers value. It's not just the things that you do differently, it's the things you do differently and customers value, and they see it as significant, so important and superior to those of competition. Back in the old days, a lot of people saw, for example, Henry Ford's production line as being significant. Today, that's kind of expected. Customers don't see a production line as being some reason to buy product. Okay, you should write down your competitive advantage clearly in a few words, and if you can't do it, well, again, you're lost. So for example, this might be your competitive advantage. We deliver 30% faster, 20% lower damage rate than all other delivery companies. And if you're a delivery company, that is a perfectly good competitive advantage. The competitive advantage is often the reason, at least statistically speaking, that causes customers to buy from your company and not from your competitor. So for example, if you're in the hotel or airline business, better service will draw customers. Convenient location, well, if you're a restaurant, yeah, that's great. More selection, yeah, if your clothing store has more sizes, more colors, whatever, that can be a draw. Knowledgeable workers, so you go into a hardware store and you go into the right hardware store and they got that guy or gal in there And when you ask a question, I'm looking for this, I'm trying to do that, and they really step up to it, that's why you go back to that place. The marketing mix. So we're down here to number 4. It has many subparts. The marketing mix, there are 5 P's that I have found that most helped in my career. A lot of people have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. But these are the 5 that I prioritize. It is the set of internally controllable elements, the product offering, pricing, promotional methods, personal and distribution system a company uses to influence and meet the needs of a specific target customers, consumers, with the aim of providing superior value. So it is internally controllable elements. So these are things that are inside your company that you can directly influence. And it meets the needs of specific target customers, not the general public. This is not a promotion mix. A lot of people confuse this with promotion mix. So it consists of the 5 P's: product, price, place. Place is location or distribution, promotion, and people. And people is the newest one that I have taken on board. Some marketers add other P's in order to get attention. The marketing mix's goal is not to change customers' behavior, at least in the short term, but it follows, I should have that bolded, follows the customer's needs and wants. So most of the time, marketing is going to follow what customers need. Now, a customer may not know right away that they need this. You may present something that solves a problem. They know they have a problem, but you present something that solves that problem. You inform them how it solves the problem, and bingo, you have scored points. So note, every target market requires a unique marketing mix to satisfy the need of target customers. Yeah, this means that the target market, so teen girls are not the same as teen boys. You have to have a different marketing mix for teen girls versus teen boys. The marketing mix is only as good as its weakest part. So for example, if you distribute where your target market doesn't shop, if you are selling at Walmart, but your target market is shopping at Saks Fifth Avenue, yeah, you're not going to do very well. Okay, so let's look at product, price, place, promotion, people in detail. Product. Product or services, features, and functions are based on target market needs and wants. It is, yeah, these are the things that your potential customers need or want. It's the thing that's going to solve their problem. Brand name. Brand name is not as common in Asia. However, it can be a good value differentiator. So, yeah, it's Rolex versus Timex, BYD versus, and I think they pronounce this Zheping. Brand. The definition of brand is a name, term, design, symbol, or any other feature that identifies one seller's product distinct from those of other sellers. That's from the American Marketing Association. So yeah, this is a way of distinguishing yourself from other people, from other companies. A brand is a reputation. It's a promise. In the old days, you had like Joe's Shop. And when you went into Joe's Shop, you knew what to expect. There was a certain level of service you were expecting, quality of product, you knew what Joe carried, and so forth. So it's a promise. It's a set of expectations. It's, for example, Rolex versus Timex, Hilton versus Holiday Inn, VW versus Lexus. We all have a feeling for what those things mean, and we have an expectation when we deal with those different companies. Packaging is sometimes a very neglected part of the brand image. It has to be looked at from a term of cost. Is it consumer or commercial? Is it decorative? Is it protective? Does it provide value add like pop top cans? Yeah, so those are all part of the product and brand consideration. Continuing on, colors have to be appropriate for the product or service at the cultural level of the target markets. So for example, in China, red and gold connote something very luxurious, very expensive, very rich. However, in America, it can be kind of seen as cheesy and low class. So one has to consider that, especially if you're selling across borders. A warranty can be a differentiator or a me too. So if your competitors are already offering a 5-year warranty and you offer a 5-year warranty, you're just doing a me too. You have to do it to meet competition. However, if your competitors are offering a 5-year warranty, say on the compressor of their refrigerator, and you come out and offer a 10-year warranty across the whole refrigerator, that's something that people are going to notice. Warranties have a cost. They're an expense. They're going to impact your ROI very likely. However, it can represent value for the customer and it can provide confidence in their purchase. Then there are accessories. Does your customer expect service? Do they expect upgrades? If it's a computer, they probably expect software or other similar upgrades. If it's an automobile, they're going to expect service when needed and hopefully not too much. A service program can be something like oil changes for their new cars. It can be something like check and clean your jewelry yearly. If you go to high-end jewelry stores and buy expensive jewelry, they'll oftentimes have a service where you bring back your piece of jewelry and they'll check it to make sure the stones aren't loose, that things aren't bent, the clasps are working correctly. There are two general types of products, and one is a consumer product that is business to customers, and it's a product that you and I purchase for your needs, your family's needs, what have you. And then there are industrial products for businesses. So this is business to business, and it's a product that's bought for resale, and it's for making other products. So you might buy a roll of sheet steel and stamp it into toys or something, or it's used in your firm's operations. Pricing strategy, determining a customer price based on demand for and cost to produce the goods or services. It depends on things like cost to manufacture, your competitors, your overall strategy. Supply and demand can definitely affect your cost of producing your product. And note here, very important, people that are new to marketing and new to management, they love to overplay pricing because it feels good. It is something that, if I change my price, I can reflect that across every product of mine across the world, everywhere around the world, and I can do it almost instantly, especially if I'm doing online sales. So people love to play with price because it's one of the few things in marketing that is not just a statistical thing. It is something that I have immediate control over. However, as a result, a lot of people overplay pricing, and pricing is oftentimes driven more by competitors, cost structures, and your customers than it is anything that you can actually do yourself. So you are not emperor over pricing. The fact is that you're going to be pushed by outside forces more than you might like. Okay, we will talk more about pricing strategies later. Distribution. So the distribution strategy is very important. If you're selling in the wrong place, your customers are never going to find your products, quite simply. A distribution strategy is a plan to define a channel by which products flow from the producer, the seller of it, to the final consumer. A channel, by definition, is the path a product takes between the producer and the customer. So say you're manufacturing, it starts at the factory, it goes to a shipper, foreign distributor, goes to the store, and finally the customer buys it. The plan contains cost-effective and efficient channels to reach target customers to maximize profitability and customer satisfaction. Yeah, so you have to sell to places that are cost-efficient for you. If shipping is an issue, if you're shipping too far away or across borders, and there are tariffs, taxes, and other fees, yeah, that's not good. That will impact the customer's final price, and so it may not be feasible for you or your customer at that point. So this is why planning is important. It includes things like deciding on the number of stores. You cannot sell to every store in the world. You just don't have the advertising budget, the ability for your people to track every store, and so on. So which retailers, wholesalers are going to handle the product, whether it's commercial or customer, those are all important parts of your distribution strategy. So promotion. Your promotion strategy is a unique mix of advertising, personal selling, publicity, sales promotion, which is going to inform and stimulate the target market to buy a product or a service. And notice the word unique up here. It is a unique mix of ads and personnel, and it is aimed at a target market. It is not to everyone. Advertising, paid communication to inform or persuade an audience. Personal selling, it is face-to-face direct communication, phone calls, email to email, anything like that. Publicity, PR, it is public visibility or awareness for a product, service, person, or organization. This is oftentimes you'll see the CEO get out on camera and talk about something. It can be on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or whatever it is, but they get out there and they talk about their company, how great it is, how the problem they had wasn't that serious, all those type of things. Sales promotion is a short-term incentive or campaign to boost immediate sales or customer engagement. This can be coupons, short-term sales, and so forth. We're going to talk more about promotion strategies later. People. People includes your customers, their demographics, age, gender, all that stuff, their needs, their wants, plus your employees. That includes yourself. When your people provide excellent customer service, your customers take notice of that. They're satisfied. We've all been into that store where, you know, that special employee really went out of their way to help us out. We all remember that. And that improves your brand's value. So that creates word of mouth, and viral marketing these days can be a result of that. Good employees are a competitive advantage. They are a strength. In the SWOT diagram, they are a definite strength. You need to attract, train, and retain the right people. A friend of mine who's manages a large manufacturing company, it's actually the CEO and owner. One day he was complaining about training people and they get up and leave. And I said, you know, the worst thing that can happen is not that you train someone and they get up and leave, it's that you don't train them and they stay. And he kind of went, yeah, okay, hadn't thought of it that way. So there are more P's. There are 6, 7, 8 P's. There's like physical evidence, elements within a store. To me, that's more sales than it is anything, or it could be your distribution strategy, storefront, uniforms employees wear, and so forth. To me, this is more of a sales or distribution item. Process, the processes and systems within the organization that affects the marketing process. So for example, if you have a good ordering system, again, to me, this is more of a sales issue. Another P, if I was going to add one, would be prioritization. So this is why I picked the 5 Ps I did. A brief note on not-for-profit marketing. Not-for-profit organizations, they do not aim for profitability. Their focus is on generating enough funds through donations or whatever to meet their goals and to cover expenses. In the profit equals revenue minus expense, they aim for revenue equals expense and the profit equals 0. A lot of social marketing is done as not-for-profit, and these are things like applying marketing to social issues and causes. The goals are usually to inform, affect change, or to push social causes. So for example, if rats, mosquitoes, or something like that are an issue in your city, you may push for citywide pest control. If clean food has been an issue, pesticides or whatever, if there's been disease outbreaks, there may be a reason to do social marketing in that direction. Blood donation and blood services are often part of social marketing campaigns, car safety, and so forth. Okay, so that's the end of part 3. On to marketing part 4.